guys, we are the nerds of N9000 Plus, and we decided to do something new since we were coming back from a hurricane to be outside. So, yeah,
This is not my normal domain.
I mean, that's a myth. Nerds do go outside to
I
play
prefer
Pokemon.
artificial lighting.
We do go outside, especially to play Pokemon.
Heck yeah. That's what I'm doing right now. You can't see it, but I'm down here playing Pokemon Go. I'm catching some executes.
Right? So, we wanted to review Luke Cage. I binged it all on Saturday.
I binged it over 2 days, because I started kind of late, so I watched most of it that night, the rest of it in the morning. I watched more than half the first night, so I didn't have as much to do in the morning. But
I did the finale the next day. That's what Netflix didn't crash on me.
Yeah, me either.
So I was fine, but I've been reading even now friends of mine that had to go back this week and watch it because it crashed for them.
Yeah, so, Luke Cage broke the internet.
Yep. I thought overall it was a great show.
I agree. So for me, the big standout, look, we already knew Mike Coulter was awesome.
Yeah, oh God.
He was good in Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
He was. We just knew. Actually, we were talking before, and I made the joke where I said, before I knew we were getting a Luke Cage series, I once said that if they ever made one, that Terry Crews would be the perfect Luke Cage. And I was wrong, because Mike Coulter is the perfect Luke Cage. So he's definitely a standout, but for me, I'm going to do my best not to butcher the name. For me, the standout is Cottonmouth, played by
Mahershala Ali.
Well, it goes two different ways. It's Mahershala Ali, and then there's like a full version, which is like Mahershala Alabaz, apparently.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. But his Cottonmouth is really, really effective.
Oh my God.
I find him very intimidating. That shot, that beautiful shot where he's standing in front of the Biggie poster, and he steps forward because everyone wants to be the king, right as the crown of Biggie appears to now sit atop his own head. His character was awesome, and I guess we're gonna do spoilers. I mean, we're gonna have to do spoilers. For me, the biggest disappointment though is that he is relegated to like the second tier bad guy. Mm-hmm. He gets killed off to make way for the main villain of the series. And I didn't think they needed to do it. I think they could have kept Cottonmouth till the end and saved Diamondback for maybe season 2.
Yeah.
Or even maybe like part of a slew of villains in the Defenders or something. They could have done anything. And I think getting rid of Ali as Cottonmouth was just it was an error. I think that was an error in judgment.
Although the way they did it, I loved.
Brilliant.
Yes, it was definitely a twist that did not see coming. It was very interesting. I mean, the show already has your 4 main villains, you know, really. You got your Cottonmouth, Diamondback, Black Mariah, and Shades. And just the whole interaction and seeing their history, just growing up, especially the cousins.
Oh, yeah.
It's
very brutal. I mean, those kids did not have a chance with that.
With that whole scene when you see it, oh my gosh.
No.
Well, the thing a lot of shows, a problem they tend to have is if you have too many like big time bad guys, it doesn't work. And even though I didn't want them to kill off Cottonmouth, they all worked really well together.
Yes.
Cottonmouth is the boss, but there's always a bigger boss, right?
Yep.
So his boss is Diamondback. Diamondback sends his second in charge, Shades, to make sure that things are going smoothly with Cottonmouth, and is helping a reluctant villain in his cousin, who at first just wants to try to actually make things better. She goes about it maybe not the best way.
Yeah.
So they all interconnect like a puzzle, and they form a perfect picture. None of them really outweigh the others, even though it winds up basically being the big baddie. Yeah. It never feels that way.
And honestly, for me, I liked the other 3, even Shades, better than Diamondback.
I agree.
I feel like Diamondback wasn't the worst, but when you set up like a Cottonmouth with his backstory and all that, and then Mariah with her backstory, and then Shades, we really don't know what's going on with him, but even like his dynamic with Mariah and
he's
all
the
that,
mystery
like,
character too.
Exactly, I liked all of those.
Him.
I really didn't like Diamondback as much. Like when we finally got the reveal, which, like we said, spoilers. When we got the reveal that was his brother.
It didn't play real well for me.
No, it really didn't.
Because it's all like at once. You're not getting his side throughout the first few episodes. You don't even see him.
Yeah.
Right, and then he finally pops up, and he's just this bad guy. Like, okay, he's a bad guy. But then after a while, it's like it's the "No, I am your father" moment, where suddenly it's like, oh, he's his brother, and it's really kind of sprung on you.
Yep.
At least in Star Wars, they hinted at it first.
Yeah.
But what I thought was most interesting about that springing that kind of twist is. At first, Luke is kind of like, well, it's sort of like Star Wars again, because Luke is kind of like it ain't my brother kind of thing. But then all of a sudden he's like
having flashbacks,
and he's like, he was my brother. I think I knew he was. Well, it's like Luke, who's like, I think I've always known it with his sister. The whole thing was a little weird, but it didn't play well for me at all.
I think if you had more of their backstory, like them growing up, like we got more of their best friendship, like with them growing up together and training each other, and that was great. I like those scenes, but I feel like we should have gotten more of the dynamic between his dad, the pastor, and then the two women, and then I would have felt like, oh well, yeah, they treated his mom like crap, like. Okay, maybe that's why.
But you don't really get that. You get you just by
get
the way they treated my mom like crap. That's why I hate you. It's like it all happens, and you're like,
it was just by words.
Exactly.
And Diamondback, he said, and once again by his own words, it's like, oh, I've always hated you. But in the flashbacks, they never showed that.
They never showed they should have shown him kind of being angry or something like that, or teaching him something wrong and like, oops, my bad.
Or at least an internal monologue. Like hearing him thinking. Diamondback's whole motivation to what he's doing is just very petty and very childish, and definitely not your typical supervillain origin. It's very different from the comics. In the comics, both him and Luke, when he was Carl Lucas,
members, right?
Yeah, they were gang members. They weren't cops, know. But the bottom line was that Diamondback had threw Luke under the bus. Mm-hmm. That was the whole point. Had set him up for prison, and they kind of said that in the Netflix, but it wasn't so clear. Mm-hmm. And that's how it was. So it's like, okay, he's the reason why he was thrown in prison, and that hatred. It's like if they would have shown more of that, actually shown it, would have been different.
The only thing that's kind of irksome is like he ain't from Harlem, Luke Cage. It'd be better if he was from Harlem, like protecting his place. But I mean, I get it. But
funny enough, in the comics, he was actually from Harlem.
Yeah, this is just Georgia.
Well, he was just sent to prison in Georgia. That was in the comics. He was actually born and raised in Harlem. That's why he.
Which is, I think, a mild misstep.
Yeah, but in the Netflix series, they were like, he's like he was a cop in Georgia. He went to prison in Georgia, and it was just.
Well, I kind of like that that he takes it on as his new place. Like, I feel like that. In today's society, kind of gives you that feeling of you can make any place your home. Like, I feel like that's the message that they're trying to give with that. And he basically did. He took on this new place as this is now his home. He's not from Georgia anymore. Like, he's here. Harlem is his home.
I think there's something pretty special about a black man in a hoodie who's bulletproof. Yeah. In like, I know the Marvel Universe isn't ours. Yeah. But it may as well be. Like, he's in Harlem. I mean, he's on the set, but I mean, it looks like he's in Harlem. He's in New York, and
all the crap that's happening right now.
He's hanging out in Hell's Kitchen, and he's in not in this season. Hell's Kitchen and Jessica Jones, obviously. But yeah, he's a bulletproof black man in a hoodie. Yep. And people are offended, and I'm like.
People are offended over a lot of things. Unfortunately, with this show, people got offended with the fact that it's a mostly black cast.
There's only three main characters who aren't black, and it's going to be Claire Temple, which is Rosario Dawson. It's going to be her, the partner, the police partner, the white guy, the only white character. Shades is like he's Hispanic. They're the only three main characters who aren't black. In fact, there aren't even like background characters who aren't black, really. It's pretty much all black except for those three characters. Yep. Unless you guys have other things, there's probably two more really important things we should touch on, and one is the music.
Oh my god!
This show, and it didn't feel like Suicide Squad, where it felt like you were watching a music video.
Oh no, definitely.
This show, all the music. So Cottonmouth owns a club, and so he has musical acts all the time. And
it makes sense.
And it worked so well. But these musical
acts... The
first
one was Raphael Sadiq.
Yes. Sadiq was spectacular.
Oh my god.
And it just really kind of tied together every element of the show. Because you're in the club and the music starts. Oh yeah, they had some brilliant
They had some songs that fit with the show. Like, about Luke Cage. And then one thing that John and I think, talked about on Facebook was... the fact that Method Man rapped a song about meeting Luke Cage, and it was brilliant.
Method Man was playing Method Man, and he meets Luke Cage, who intervenes in a robbery, and Luke needs to kind of disguise himself a little better, so he asks Method Man if he can take his hoodie, and he's like, XXL? Yep.
I was thinking the same thing.
and so he's like bragging about, my hoodie's
These
got
are real bullet holes.
Look, there's bullet holes. I think we all three agree, and I think we should let Kim kind of chime in on this one, that we all did not like the last episode.
Yes, the ending was very rushed and very it didn't make any sense. Nonsensical, if that's a word. That's a word. Nonsensical. It was nonsensical.
It felt
like they realized they were on their last episode. Oh God, we have to finish this. Like, that's what it felt like. Like you said, rush. It just felt like all of a sudden everything comes together and then it ends and it's over. Well, and usually with a show like this, you know, it's like the very end, the final fight or whatever. But in the last episode, it's the first thing that happens, and then you have like all this time.
It felt like the first Iron Man. Yeah, when it came to the last battle with Ironmonger, it was like okay, finally. And the fight was like barely even 5 minutes. Really, it was the exact same thing. The fight was very short.
Well, and you know, I'm pretty good at suspending disbelief, but they've been after Luke Cage for a while. The federal, I forget which agency, FBI or something. Marshals, that's right, federal marshals, come and pick him up. And basically, the cops there, because Misty knows he's good, they're like, you won't need those handcuffs. And they're like, all right. And I'm like, what? Like, we all know he's super strong and stuff, so the handcuffs probably work, but like, this doesn't make sense. And they're like, they give him all this time to say goodbye to Claire and to hug people. And I'm like, they would have dragged him outside and put him in the police car. Like, none of it really. If they had been like, yeah, we've seen the news, are you going to come quietly? Because if not, we can't do anything. And he was like, look, I'm going to do the right thing. Then maybe. But they didn't even go that route. They were just sort of like, take your time. Yeah. We'll stop for coffee on the way. Right? It was really weird.
Yeah, only the local cops at the Judas level. It's so...
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was a weird conversation in the car, too. Like, them talking about the books and stuff like that. And I'm just like, this is weird.
Yeah. The final episode really didn't work at all for me. No. I mean, not even a little bit.
I feel like it could have been over right after the fight.
Because everybody wants to be the king.
We hope you loved it too. If you didn't or you did, comment below. Subscribe right there. Watch the other videos.
Also, comment down below about how racist the show is for not casting white people, and we'll block you from our channel.
Yes, we will.
Come to my Facebook page. I engage in all kinds of debate.
Whispered repetition.
Catchphrase.